There are two things I wanted to share with the board. The first of which is a technical advisory that was released from the New Hampshire Education Department just this afternoon, and it pertains to the changes that were made to RSA 189.1, which pertain to the new cell phone ban. So this is some information for kind of policy compliance and some definitions that the department has sent out to the field. So there's one piece. And the second piece I wanted to share with you, this is a correspondence that I received from the Commissioner of Education, Commissioner Davis, and this has to do with a temporary restraining order that was issued today. There was another injunction filed with respect to one of the diversity, equity, and inclusion sign-offs that we had to do. So this was sent out on behalf of the Department of Ed about that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. All right, good news commendations. Brady.
All right, school year has started, so with that comes all the fun beginning of school stuff. This Friday, the home football game under the lights, always a good time, so come out and support the team. September 10th and 11th will be school pictures for all students, and this is during their English classes. And lastly, NHS has recently opened up a tutoring office for students who need help. It's actually over there in the library in that tiny, used to be a tech office. So 2 to 3 students will be there every day, and it's pretty cool. That's all I got.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brady. Ms. Bean.
Jen Boschman, our librarian, has met with 40 preps. Preps are what you would have considered study halls when you went to school. During that time, guiding them through the process of finding a book that met their needs. And at this point, coming into this week, 397 books have been checked out. She's continuing that process this week with more preps. Over the summer, Larry Houghton did take the students that needed to raise their money to meet the New Hampshire Envirothon in Calgary to compete in the International Envirothon competition. And he said that it was a meaningful experience and a very beautiful place to visit. Dominic Lorendo, one of our students, has been working really hard on planning and prepping to use the woods behind Goffstown High School to design a cross-country trail system that could be used by the team and the community. He's doing this as an Eagle Scout project, which on September 6th and 7th, they spent the entire weekend working on this with volunteers from the community and members of the team and members of the Scouts. On September 21st, he's going to continue that work with a full day. It will start with the Scout team, but if anyone's interested in helping out, they should reach out to him. This will make a great use of that property, hopefully a home so we can have home meets for our cross-country team.
Nice. Thank you, Ms. Bean. Mr. Davis.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
The year's off and running, and everybody's excited for this great year. It was nice to welcome in some of the new students from New Boston, and we're all really excited.
Nice. Thank you. Wendy.
Great. I just wanted to just give a shout out to a new photography studio on Main Street called Catalyst Creative Studio. They worked with the PFT over at Maple Avenue and did a donation of tissues, paper towels, and things like that to help out Maple Ave. So thank you to them for partnering with us. And I also wanted to let you know that Nate Green from the New Hampshire Education Department reached out to me last week and has invited Suzanne Pishka and I to present at the assessment conference on the 5th, because we had a significant uptick in our scores at Bartlett in the area of reading and writing, a 15-point increase, which is very remarkable.
That's great.
So they've asked us to present on what we did at Bartlett to see the increase in scores. So basically what will happen is I will introduce Suzanne, and she's going to talk about all the wonderful things that she and Darcy and her staff did. But we're very proud of them and
Nice.
humbled to have been asked to come and present at that conference.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else? Good news commendations? Go ahead, Jenny.
I would just like to commend the library for once again doing their summer reading program, encouraging kids to read during the summer. It was a really cool program. They also did all kinds of STEM projects out on the lawn every Monday, and all kinds of other learning things for kids during the summer to kind of help kids keep up on educational things while they were out of school.
Nice.
So congrats to them and keep it up.
Thank you,
Good
Ginny.
work always.
Anyone else? Good news commendations? All right, seeing none, we'll open to public comment. Is there any public comment? I see none, so we'll close it. So now we're going to go on to approving the August 25th board meeting minutes. Does everybody have a chance to look at it? Anybody see anything? If not, go ahead, Shane.
Oh, Ginny has some.
Oh, Ginny?
I just had two very slight things. In the minutes where I talked about Jean Walker in Moment of Silence, I just would like to add that not only was she the ski program person, but she was also an excellent second grade teacher for just many, many, many years.
Is that what you said back then?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did say it just wasn't included.
Okay. So to add that she was a second grade
Yes.
teacher?
And also on page 2, where I was talking about the programs where the kids were added a second year up until they were age 22, it said something about, I said there were no programs. There are programs in the school, which of course, even though it was an unfunded mandate, we've served. What I was talking about is it's really too bad that the state doesn't have any programs for them. So they get an extra year here, which is very helpful, but the state just drops them off, and there's very few programs at the state level where there used to be more, where the kids could keep up on their skills. And so after we've worked really hard with them for 22 years, we drop them off and they lose the skills that they've acquired because there's no state programs for them to continue any kind of program that they
Right, yeah, it
started
does,
and
it
worked.
says there's no state program. So what did you want to add
Just that, yes, we do have programs in
here?
the school.
Okay,
Because we have to.
Right.
It was mandated.
okay,
Just that those programs that are not had is at the state level.
right. Did you get all that, Denise?
Yep.
Okay. All
Sorry,
right,
Denise.
all right. Is everybody good with that? And I'll need a motion for the amendment.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 25th, 2025 as amended.
Thank you, Shane. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
By Retta. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teacher, student, yes. Opposed, abstaining. Okay, we're unanimous. All right, moving on to committee reports, financial reports. So you want to start with the manifest, Caroline?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve the manifest in the total amount of $3,429,384.
All right, I need a second
I'll second.
by Jack. All right, go ahead.
So we have 4 main categories of spending. The first is payroll, taxes, and benefits, and the total amount in that category is $2,079,425.30. The second category is special ed. We had a total of 7 vendors that we paid out. This was mainly out-of-district tuition, some contracted services, and transportation. The total amount is $129,819.99. The third category is a pretty lengthy one. It's general expenses. There were 3 large amounts that we spent. The first was energy management consultants, that's known as EMC. That was a total of $285,392, and that was for the MVMS cistern repairs. The next was the Goffstown share of the SAU assessment, paid out $232,828. And then we paid Connection Financial $150,095 for laptop leases. There's a number of other vendors that we paid for maintenance and repairs, supplies, books, utilities, IT software and equipment. And the total spending for this category was $1,082,047.45. Our last category is food service, and that was no spending because this manifest was for August 4th to September 2nd, so we did not have any food service going on at that time. And just so the public is aware, we do post this full manifest on the website in a pretty easy to locate area where all the manifests are just listed. So you can see everything listed there.
Awesome, thank you, Caroline. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, yes, opposed? Abstaining. We are unanimous. All right, Doug,
All right, thanks.
yes, you're next, MS 25.
So as we go throughout this year, I want to kind of highlight some processes and procedures that we use in the business office, but also district-wide to make sure that we're kind of in compliance with the financial regulations, rules, expectations. So one of them has to do with the DOE 25, MS 25, and what we do is after I complete it, we send it out to our auditors as well. And so Cheryl Pratt, who is a director at Plodzik and Sanderson, then looks at each of the lines, each of the numbers as well. So when we're giving you the data about this and when we're sending it into the state, it's audited numbers, but then it's being relooked at by our auditors also. So it's almost like triple checked at that point, which is good because there are a lot of large numbers as we look at a $55 million budget. So the DOE feeds into the MS 25, which then helps set the tax rate. So key numbers that are part of both of these are how much we are retaining to offset any unexpected expenses this year. So we can see that's on page 1 of both. So that's at $1,731,296, as well as how much is going back to offset the taxes. So there was an expectation that that was going to be $1.7 million, and that is $2,517,737.09. So as you kind of look throughout the DOE 25, you'll see it breaks it down by elementary, middle, high school, as well as transportation, special ed. So it really starts breaking down the numbers more so the state can kind of compare different school districts at a time as well. So I don't know if there's any questions on the DOE 25.
Anyone, questions, comments? Okay. Nope, seeing none.
A lot of work goes into the DOE 25, so thank you for all the hard work on that, Doug. And I continue to appreciate that we continue to have our auditors review the DOE 25. I think that continues to be a good check and balance for us.
All right, so next on is something that tends to happen yearly, and that's an authorization to allow the BA to process out-of-sequence payments. Reasons why we might want to do that is that Eversource bill comes in and we only have 10 days to pay it, or other timely bills that we want to make sure that we're paying without a late fee. So as we wait sometimes a longer period of time, including between now and the next school board meeting, there are bills that the due date would have lapsed by that point. So this allows that payment to happen in between meetings as well. So what I did was I took the same motion that was used last year and just changed the dates.
I'll do the motion. Motion to authorize the business administrator to process accounts payable and payroll out-of-sequence checks for the fiscal year 2025-2026 school year. These types of payments will be included in the subsequent school board manifest, which is subject to review.
All right, so I have a motion, do I have a second? By Jack. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, yes. Opposed, abstaining. Okay, we're unanimous, students. All right, go ahead, Doug.
All right, so the next is about the Goffstown Adult Program and the changes in funding that we've experienced lately. So a little history on the GAP, which is also the Goffstown Adult Program. This comes from Ashley Barisi, who is the director of the adult education as well as one of the school counselors at the high school. So GAP started in 2005. It is both in-person and online. So in-person being at Goffstown High School, online mainly through Edmentum classes. It's a year-round opportunity for kids ages, or adults ages 16 plus, to work on getting their adult diploma as well as credit recovery, the HiSET, which is the high school equivalency test, and enrichment opportunities. So it allows different pathways than might typically be there during a regular school day because the in-person classes are afternoon and evening, smaller in nature, tend to be more work-based in how they structure their class, as far as work-based learning experiences. They're smaller, so therefore they have individualized more learning, and students creating kind of their own experiences as they move through it. So it has definitely helped reduce the dropout rate for students and kind of meet students at where they're at, either for that year or kind of their duration or past their typical time at the high school. So some in-person classes that typically been taught have been English, algebra, wood engineering, biology, U.S. history, painting, walking, wellness, citizenship tests, civics assessment, and high-set tutoring. So last year, 142 students were involved in GAP, 30 earned a GAP diploma, and 3 completed the high-set. These students are charged $150 for a full credit course and $75 for a half credit. So last year, in grants from both the federal government and the state, we received a little over $61,000. We went into the summer not thinking we were going to receive the same amount due to some changes, but not knowing what we'd receive. The email came out August 26th that we'd be receiving a little over $23,000. So last year, again, over $61,000, and historically it's been $61,000, $58,000, $68,000, somewhere in that around $65,000, $63,000. And this year we have $23,441.13 that we're receiving in grants, of which the majority of it is what we're being told is a one-year grant, which wouldn't be available next year. So as we look at next year, we're looking at maybe grants less than $1,000. So $61,000 last year, $23,000 this year, around $1,000 next year. So as we talked about this as a district, we believe that it's important to keep at least the core parts of GAP going throughout this year. So that would take the grant money that's coming in, as well as some district money. So when we talk about the core parts, to us, that means the 4 core classes that students could take in person would be math, English, social studies, and science. We would keep the facilitator for distance learning, which is that Momentum class, which is a lot geared on the students to kind of work their way through the class, but that facilitator provides check-ins to make sure that the students are progressing and helps out with any technical problems as well. There is a new requirement for graduations in regards to a civics assessment, so we want to keep that recovery for that now important graduation requirement, as well as the high-set support specialist. So if we look at the core of GAP, that's around $36,000. So that would leave the district funding about $15,250. So as we kind of look to use our budget this year, that's what we're going to be pushing towards. So GAP doesn't start until October. So while it wasn't great receiving the news August 26th, it wasn't a turnaround as far as like starting in September. So that's kind of where we're planning on going. So I don't know if Superintendent Balke has anything else to say?
Oh, I have a lot to say. You know, this, and I'll try not to get on my soapbox too much, but here is just another example of the downshifting of costs from Concord to the local taxpayer. So here's a proven program that we've been receiving funding in the $60,000 range for years. We use that to provide all these supports to kids so that they're able to take classes to work towards their diploma, and here we go. No notice, no opportunity to budget. So I can budget for FY27. I can't budget for FY26 that we're in right now because we weren't told that there were going to be reductions. So it just continues to be exceptionally disappointing. However, I'm committed and in support of these programs. So Doug and I had the chance to meet with Ashley and Mrs. McCann last week. We will be bringing recommendations for the FY27 budget to provide some of the funding for these programs. But for FY26, we're going to need to do a little more creative thinking around that. So I think we need to continue to be dedicated and committed to these programs and just continue to see the erosion of appropriate funding, and the state just continues to not meet their constitutional obligation to all children in New Hampshire.
Thank you, Brian. Go ahead, Retta.
Do we have any details on what those grants were in the past, and can we get that information that have gone away?
I think Doug can probably give it to you now. So the grant that we received, we were able to use for offset salary costs for the teachers and the staff. So that's essentially what that $58,000 to $60,000 was used for. It was all for salaries.
So I believe a decent amount of it comes from the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act grant. So,
And is that a state level or
I think it's like a state pass-through, so like there's federal money and the state decides what to do with that money.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Comments, questions for Doug? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on.
So next thing we have on our agenda is actually going to be covered by Mr. Talbot in the Budget Committee reports, as it has to do with a slight change to the schedule as we work our way through the budget.
Okay, so you're all set?
I'm all set.
All right, thanks, Doug. All right, Jared, Budget Committee.
Hello, team. Our next budget meeting is next Tuesday, the 16th at 6 o'clock, right here. It's going to be more the administrative side for the Budget Committee, nothing to do with our budgets at this time. There has been a change, though. The Budget Committee has elected to not have joint presentations with us, like they have in the past years. So we will have our presentation during our regular times, Monday and Wednesday, as our calendar has predicted. The Budget Committee will not be with us at that point. We will be presenting, when I say we, sometimes Jack, sometimes myself, always Doug, will be presenting to the Budget Committee our initial budget presentations Tuesday, November 4th at 6 p.m. So our budget presentations that we're going to go over in October and then deliver our budget, we will refine those presentations to the Budget Committee, and that presentation to the Budget Committee will be November 4th and November 6th at 6 p.m. right here in this room. The town presentations, which we may or may not want to attend collectively, will be on Thursday the 13th, Tuesday the 18th, and Thursday the 20th. What does this mean? I'm glad you asked. Yeah, I know. I'm preempting Jenny's questions that she has. So we will not be presenting our actual budget for deliberation to the Budget Committee until November 18th.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. That's what I'm telling you.
How are they gonna get the information and the details?
So we're going to have the presentations, so the town and the school will be presenting our overall PowerPoints early in November, but we won't actually be going through our deliberations line by line like what we do, except at the Budget Committee, until November 18th.
So they won't be here to hear the teachers speak about how important these things are to them, or any of the presentations from administrators. So all they're gonna hear are budget lines and what they mean.
Well, the presentations will be holistic and collective like what we get to begin with. But that was a concern that I had, Ginny,
Yeah.
is, wait a minute, having the joint meetings, we had the facilities, we had the principals here to kind of talk about those items. We're gonna lose some of that flavor. So Doug's gonna do an excellent job being ready for those overviews. And if there are some big ticket items that we have, we probably want to look at bringing in a principal of that school to talk about that during that presentation. But again, I'm going to leave it to the administration to say, is it just some of our schools are going down? Maybe it's just kind of regular O&M, business as usual. Maybe we don't need to bring in a principal for that school. But if it's one of those items where we need to talk about those things from a budget perspective, then maybe we want to bring in a principal. And I've talked with Doug, and Doug's pretty confident and comfortable with this.
And I shouldn't even speak tonight because I went over the education, the new laws before I came here tonight when I was doing my school board homework. And there are so many changes in the laws regarding education that started September 1st, 2025, and that we're going to have to implement and use them when we set up our classes, our information, whatever, for the year. and develop a budget that incorporates all of those new laws. And we're not even gonna have a chance to have people that are dealing with that speaking with the budget committee. So they're not really looking for a whole lot of information from us and where the new changes and money come from. I'm astounded.
So Jared, in the
I'm-
past.
I would say in the packet, I might have misspoke. We actually are doing the presentations to the Budget Committee on October 28th and October 30th. So in your packet, you kind of have a timetable of what is going on with the budget. I've kind of augmented or eliminated all the stuff that we do collectively as a board. I'm just talking about what we're presenting and when we're presenting and how
Right.
we're dealing with the Budget Committee.
So in the past, before we did joint, administration would come to us, and then they would also go to the budget committee. Are you saying that that's not happening at all this year? They're just coming here and they're not going to the budget committee?
The principals?
The principals?
If the administration thinks the principals should go there to the budget committee to present, I'm not gonna say, let's not do that.
Right.
I am very cognizant of our administrators
Time.
and their time.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the joint meetings were always great, because we didn't have to take up multiple hours of a principal
Right.
to discuss the same things.
Was there any reason why, after all these years, this got changed?
I wasn't at the last board meeting, and Jack wasn't either by
Okay.
design.
Okay.
I don't think that this was talked about and voted on by the budget committee. I think that this is the leadership of the budget committee
Okay.
wanting it this way.
Okay.
That's my thought process, though.
All right.
That's what I understand.
All right, thank you, Jared. Anyone else? Go ahead, Shane.
This is actually just a quick question. So Jared, are the November 4th and 6th dates off, or?
No, they're still,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I messed up on that.
No, it's okay. I just wanna
So,
make
no,
sure.
I appreciate you bringing that up. So they're doing the town presentations. So school board traditionally has gone first because we got our stuff together. Not to say the town doesn't, but the town is always going through their budget, because they're in their budget and trying to close it out this year and while trying to plan for next year. So they got a double dipping going on. So the town is the 4th, 6th, and 13th.
Okay, that's town. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
then the deliberations start on November 18th.
Thank you, Jared.
Yeah. But this, my personal opinion is that's not a lot of time to get through two budgets.
No.
Normally, we're starting in October for budget deliberations at the budget committee.
Right.
And they go usually all the way until December. So hopefully they're very focused on what they go through.
Jack, did you have your hand up?
Just time on Tuesday, so I'm on time?
6 o'clock.
Okay.
All right.
There
any-
is a walkthrough on the 21st. Again, it's another budget administrative meeting. They're doing a walkthrough of GHS. I think Doug has that to review, changes that might be coming in the budget for the high school.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so far, we've scheduled a walkthrough of GHS, because that's where we know we have some projects that are coming that will impact the budget next year. We're still looking at possibly other school walkthroughs, maybe the middle school, but the budget committee's looking to walk through this year only buildings that have budget committee dollars that are gonna be in the budget for next year, or much larger, maybe projects in the future, so.
Not standard, typical, ongoing operational costs. So what the Budget Committee's asking is they want to tour schools if there's something fairly sizable and fairly significant, and if not, they don't want to tour those schools, is my understanding. Because in the past, and we've done this a lot of different ways over the years, but in the past, we've typically offered to take the Budget Committee to all the schools. But this year's model will look a little different, and I would just ask Jack and Jared to always share that administration will do whatever the Budget Committee needs. So whatever they need, we will be there.
All right, you're all set, Jared?
I'm good.
Okay.
Everybody else is good.
CIP, Jack.
CIP is still on the wait for Thursday, present
Okay.
the matrix, the accepted matrix to the planning board.
Nice.
So
Okay. And that's this Thursday?
that's this Thursday
At what time?
at 6 o'clock
Okay.
at the Mildred Stark
Okay, perfect.
room in the town hall.
All right, C&E, Ginny.
Our next meeting is September 15th at 7 PM at the SAU Village.
All right. PNC, Retta.
PNC is not meeting this month. In fact, our next meeting is November 3rd.
Okay. All right, policy review, Shane.
Thank you. The Policy Review Committee will meet next Monday, which is the
15th, yep.
15th. September 15th, we'll be meeting at 5:30 at the SAU offices, and if you really love policy, the SAU Policy Committee will be meeting on Wednesday at the SAU offices at 5:30. So come and get your double dip of policy next week.
Thank you, Shane. All right.
Can I just ask
Yeah.
a question? So the SAU is at 5:30 or 6?
5:30.
I think I will be there.
Sounds great. The more the merrier.
All right, and then there's a joint area committee meeting on Thursday, 9/11 at 6 PM at the SAU. So for all those that are on that, that's this Thursday at 6. And then the SAU board meeting is October 16th at 6 at the SAU.
Excuse me, Heather?
Yes.
We're going to have to rethink the joint area committee
Okay.
because I got quite a few emails or
That
text
CIP
messages stating
goes.
that they can't
go.
make it.
Okay,
So we're going to have to throw out some other dates there.
so you'll do that the next couple of
Yep,
days?
yep,
Okay, so
definitely.
strike that, so nothing on September 11th. Okay. Thank you, Denise.
You're welcome.
All right, superintendent's report.
Thank you. So I wanted to give a few updates. So you might have seen nationally, there's a fair amount of uncertainty around vaccine recommendations coming out of the CDC right now. You might have also seen that there's current legislation in Florida to remove all vaccine mandates for children to attend schools. What we're starting to see is there's a couple of coalitions that have been formed across the country. And in New England, all the New England states except for New Hampshire have joined a coalition to develop vaccine recommendations depending on what the federal government does. So at this point, I think that this is just a cautionary. I just want the board to be aware that this is happening, and I think this is something for us to pay attention to. So we have ongoing security assessments happening through Homeland Security for all of our schools. We typically do these assessments about every 3 years. And we use those as a tool for budget recommendations, as well as some of the projects that we've targeted through the SAFE grants over the years. So we appreciate the collaboration with Homeland Security to evaluate our buildings. I mentioned this during correspondence, but the court injunction regarding the most recent DEI sign-off, this continues to be, you know, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. I did submit our certifications that we don't have any DEI programs. I did that weeks and weeks ago. Now we don't have to. They were supposed to be due this week. But I just wanted the board to know that there's, again, some uncertainty about that. Regarding the Eagle Scout project, administration has walked the proposed cross-country course and has provided conditional approval pending the receipt of insurance certificates and a review by Goffstown Police and Fire for emergency responder input. So he's all set.
Nice.
He's all set. And what a nice young man, and we're so appreciative of the project that he's doing. The Goffstown United Soccer League has offered a donation of exterior LED lighting, fixtures, and installation at Mountain View on the shed at the lower fields, which would help illuminate the areas near the lower fields and the entrance drive. Mr. Gross and Mr. Loring are working with this group on the logistics, but we wanted to let you know that this was an inquiry that we had. I love the idea. I'd like to put some really big lights. Over the years, we've rented lights, and so having something permanent would be a really nice thing. So we appreciate the Goffstown United Soccer League for bringing this. Specifically, it was one of our coaches, Mr. Prevey, and we're just very appreciative that he had recommended this, and they're looking to do some fundraising, so very appreciative to Mr. Prevey as well as the other folks from the soccer league. And Mr. Chadbourne and Mr. Bracey, two teachers here at Goffstown High School, are working on a student experiential learning project. They both teach sections of woodshop and woodworking, and they're going to be working with the students to conduct a timber-framed pergola to be placed in the patio near the auditorium entrance. So front of the building down that way a little bit. Originally, the pergola that was proposed was an 8x8 pergola, and it has morphed in size a little bit. It went from 8x8 to 12x24, which is a little bit of a morph. The project's going to include building permits and some other things. So at this point, we're still working on the details, but I wanted the board to be aware. I appreciate Mr. Chadbourne and Mr. Bracy, two amazing teachers, and I think this sounds like a really great project for the kids. So I wanted to let you know that was in the works as well.
Awesome.
And that's all I have, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Myself, Mrs. Kohler, Mr. Totten. I'm sure Mrs. McCann would be happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead, Retta.
So the first thing that you mentioned were the vaccine mandates, and that New Hampshire is not joining with the other New England states.
Correct.
Does that mean we have no vaccine recommendations for New Hampshire, or how does
So
that work?
I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole on this right now, because right now I think that I just want people to be aware that these conversations are happening. So the other New England states have formed a consortium that they're going to develop shared recommendations around immunizations for school-age children. So that's what Massachusetts, Vermont, all of the New England states, and I believe New York might be a part of that as well. On the West Coast, there are similar coalitions as well. So more to come, but I think it's something that the board should be aware of, and certainly from a policy perspective, this is something that I think the board will want to know about.
Thank you, Retta. Anyone else? Go ahead, Ginny.
Are our vaccine requirements?
Nothing's changed.
suggestions
Nothing's changed in New Hampshire yet, but at this point, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I think we should just all be aware and watch it carefully.
Anyone else? Questions, comments for Brian? All right, seeing none. Moving on, there is no old business, but we do have new business. Come on up, Kim.
So we've got Mrs. McCann and Mr. Grisone. I'm not sure if he's going to come up and join.
He is. Welcome, hello.
Hello, thank you. So we wanted to have some time with you tonight to talk about a proposal to add a diploma type, quite honestly, effective immediately because of some changes we've learned about over the summer that we believe will much better suit our students. So a little bit of history. We offer a 22.5 credit diploma. That has been in place since the graduating class of 2006. We dug in the archives a little bit today to be sure we knew when that first went into effect. Many schools offer multiple tiers of diploma choices for students. Typically, a school has a state minimum diploma of 20 credits, and then they have an additional diploma that is the school's diploma. Some also offer honors diplomas. We've had the 22.5 credit diploma for close to 20 years. And throughout that time, ironically, as Doug mentioned, in the 04-05 school year is when the adult program first went into place. And the GAP has always offered an adult diploma that's a 20 credit diploma that the state has included as part of their calculations for graduation rates. So because we had such a close working relationship for 20 years with the GAP, and our students had that option of the 20 credit diploma through the GAP, we've never had the conversation as a group about a tiered Goffstown High School diploma approach. Ironically, number of changes with the minimum standards in the Ed 306 rules that are coming that will start with the current 8th graders had us already working on a number of proposals and changes because the graduation requirement changes are so heavy in those minimum standards. As we were already working our way down this path, we got word from the state this summer on July 30th that the adult diploma through a federal audit was no longer going to be considered a quote-unquote regular diploma under the state of New Hampshire regulations. It would no longer be part of a graduation calculation rate for our cohorts. Taking that option off the plate means that we could anticipate a 10 to 12% reduction in the calculation of our graduation rate, even though these students have completed a minimum of 20 credits. The audit determined that because the credit classification is slightly different than the 20 credit state minimum in the adult diploma, they're not going to count it anymore. So some of those areas of difference are that the adult diploma allows for 8 elective credits. And as Doug talked about with that program and its purpose, part of that is because these are typically individuals who are out in the workforce, and that work credit can be attributed or can be brought back into the diploma. So the adult diploma doesn't require physical education, doesn't require art. And there's a slightly different math requirement. Those are the biggest differences there, that for 20 years have been a non-issue and have always been approved as a quote-unquote regular diploma, both at the state and the federal level. Now all of a sudden that's coming out of the calculation. And it happened immediately. So there was no warning, no planning, and it's going to impact our graduation calculations for the graduating class of 2025. What we would like to do is we would like to move forward and be able to offer students and families a 20 credit option that is the state minimum as defined by those minimum standards in the Ed 306s, as well as currently keep that 22.5 credit diploma that we already offer. So kids and families in the classes of 2026 through 2029 would have those 2 options. And the reason we're saying 2029 is because we are already planning to come back and talk to you about all of those other graduation requirement changes that are coming and how we propose we're going to implement them, as well as how we propose structuring multiple diploma types moving forward. That's where we're finding ourselves. We're kind of looking to do this quickly, A, because we want to have good options for students, but also because if this is approved, we need counselors to get with those kids who were thinking the adult diploma and make sure that their schedules for this year now meet the expectations of what that 20 credit minimum standard diploma would be. So we're happy to answer questions you might have.
Go ahead, Shane.
So would the 20 credit state minimum diploma replace the gap, or would we still offer both?
The gap would still be available for adult students, and realistically, it could also be an option for families. They would have to know, though, going into that it is not being viewed moving forward by the state in the same capacity.
Right.
Which means it could limit, for students moving forward, options with colleges and universities.
Right.
Right? That's
right.
the biggest thing, that historically, getting that gap diploma, students have gone to work, they've gone into the military, they've gone to 2-year, 4-year college programs, and those colleges and universities have always accepted it because it's how it's been defined by the state.
Right, because my biggest concern, not with this proposal at all,
Yeah.
is in general, is that students are getting their diploma through an alternative pathway, and now they're not going to be recognized as high school graduates, which rubbed me the wrong way.
Yep,
But-
absolutely. Yep.
Thank you, Shane. Go ahead, Jenny.
I agree with you, Shane, on that too. It's too bad that kids that are having some trouble and are doing whatever they can, however they can, to be successful, especially now where they need more than a minimum wage job, that, you know, they're not given the opportunity to do that. I think something even more importantly, and not accepting this immediately, is our school rating for next year.
It's gonna be impacted.
Is gonna
Yep.
drop, and it's not gonna be because our schools aren't doing as well as ever.
Yep.
It's going to be just because of that graduation rate number dropping 10%.
Yep.
That we're gonna go down probably, I don't know, 15.
And there's a number
schools.
of other schools across
Yeah.
the state that are in the same place, but it is very much a reality that it is a large factor in calculation of a lot of different metrics.
And taxpayers are gonna look at that and say, when budget time comes around, oh my gosh, they went from 17 to 32. What the heck happened? We're not gonna pay for money of a school that just plummeted. You know, they're not doing their job. So I think it's hugely important to do whatever we can so that our graduation rates stay stable. And I'm not saying increase them erroneously,
Yep.
but so that they stay on the same level that they have been to show the progress of our kids.
Yep.
Thank you, Ginny. Go ahead, Brian.
I would just share, it's just continues to be so disappointing that we don't have sufficient time to plan for these things. So, again, school districts operate on a fiscal year. We're doing the budget right now that won't go into effect until next year. We have time, we need to plan these things. And it's unfortunate because this hurts kids. This hurts kids. So, this one is kind of disappointing to me. I actually am concerned about having the gap diploma and the state minimum diploma. I almost think we might be better to just eliminate the gap at this point and stick with the 20 credit minimum state diploma. I would defer to Mrs. McCann on her recommendation on this, but I just don't want kids to focus on the gap diploma track that then doesn't consider them as high school completers.
And I think the reality is, Brian, where both are 20 credits, that there are very few students who the adult diploma would ultimately end up being the last resort for in June. I think giving our counselors time to plan with kids and families what they need to take with the 20 credit slight adjustment, we should be able to get the vast majority of kids there. And I think at some point, we probably are gonna have to have conversation about if the gap diploma is the option, that they ultimately transfer out and into that adult diploma, if
Yeah.
that's the diploma they're gonna receive. So I think there's a couple of kind of housekeeping pieces there.
So, if I can
Go ahead.
continue, looking
Yeah.
at your handout, on the back where it has the diploma credit comparisons and it compares the 22.5, the gap diploma and the state minimum, what you're looking for this evening, Kim, is you're looking for authorization for Goffstown High School to begin to offer the state minimum diploma of 20 credits as identified within this list, effective for this school year.
Correct.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions, comments? Go ahead, Retta.
I'm wondering if you've gotten any sort of input or feedback from the students that this might impact, and if so, what they thought about it.
This has all happened incredibly quickly.
Okay.
So the meeting that the Department of Ed held with schools happened in August.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, Retta.
And so the biggest difference here, really, most of our kids are gonna already have the phys ed and have done the art. The biggest area that we think we're gonna need to target with students this year is that third math credit.
Right. And I'm just trying to quickly go through and compare, and it seems like the electives have gone down and the requirements have gone up. In general, the science.
So when you
Phys ed.
look gap to state minimum, the biggest difference is 1 credit of math additional for the state minimum versus the adult, and the phys ed and the art piece.
Okay.
And then with that, there's fewer elective options.
So without even knowing the students over the last 3 years, we had 90-something, 92 complete the gap diploma. Of those, without even knowing, 30 of them would have received the 20 credit.
Okay.
Would have met the requirement of the 3 math credits. So without even knowing, we had a third of that. Those conversations that happen with students and parents when you're deciding which alternative pathway to go, obviously the recommendation would be the 20 credit as a high school graduate would be the ideal pathway.
Okay, and if I
Go
could
ahead,
just have
yeah.
one more follow-up. Is VLAX an option at all for these students, or is it, okay, because they do the phys ed?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Retta. Anyone else? Questions, comments? Go ahead, Shane.
As Mrs. McCann said, a lot of high schools in the state do offer the state minimum 20 credit diploma, and I think with the way the graduation rate's going to be calculated now, we'd be doing our students a disservice if we did not offer the state minimum 20 credit diploma. So I'm going to make a motion
Yep.
to propose that Goffstown High School now offers the state minimum 20 credit diploma, basically effective immediately.
All right, thank you, Shane. Does that cover everything, Kim? Okay. And Ginny, you're going to second? Any further discussion? Go ahead, Retta.
Just a quick question, with that, are we saying we're taking the gap option off the offering, or it stays where it is?
I think it's staying, right?
Yeah, and so the GAP diploma is nowhere in policy.
Okay,
Right.
Yep,
okay.
yep.
Great.
Our policy relative to Goffstown High School graduates is only the 22 and a half credit.
Okay, thank you.
All right, go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Shane.
I would just follow up by saying that my hope would be that most students that are going down this alternative pathway would opt for the state minimum rather than the gap diploma, but I understand that the gap diploma is there as a safety net, kind of, if there's some requirements that are unable to be met, so.
Jack?
Mine would be a question when we're moving into the 2029 tiered diplomas. Will we look into like a foundations diploma avenue for the special needs kids? Is that,
There's a few different pieces there that we've been talking about, Jack, yes.
Okay.
Yep, looking at
Thank you.
options.
All right, thank you, Jack. All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, students, yes, opposed, abstaining. Yes,
Uh,
we're unanimous, Denise.
I'd like to just thank Mrs. McCann. There is nobody who's as on top of these ED 306 rule changes at the high school level as Kim McCann. So Kim has really been just an incredible leader on this, and I always appreciate that she just recognizes, oh, we need to address this, and this one kind of came on fast and furious,
Yeah,
so
it
thank
did.
you, Kim. Really
Yes,
appreciate
thank
it.
you, guys.
Of course, thank you.
All right,
We'll
so
be
you-
back to
yeah.
talk about 2030 and beyond
Right.
in the very near future.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to staffing. Go ahead, Brian.
So for notifications, we have a few track changes to be aware of for several of our teachers who've continued to do advanced coursework, so congratulations to them. We have a long-term substitute, John Moran, who is a wonderful special ed teacher who retired several years ago, and we continue to appreciate that Mr. Moran continues to show up and help us out. And we also have a student teacher working with a couple of our music teachers, so that's great to hear as well. For your approval, unfortunately, we had to rescind an offer due to a certification challenge. So I have a teacher offer rescinded.
Okay, so I'll need a motion to accept. Go ahead, Caroline.
Motion to approve the teacher offer rescinded.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
By Vanessa. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teachers, parent, student, yes. Opposed, abstaining, we're good.
So the next one is, thank you, 1-year certificate of eligibility. So we're just continuing to share with the board when we have teachers that we hire on a temporary status. We only have a limited amount of time that we're able to do that. You'll recall that Mrs. McGrath has been putting those on the staffing sheet just so we can track them. So we would ask for that approval, as well as the non-sports nomination for student government at Mountain View.
All right, so I'll need a nomination. Go ahead, Jenny. Yeah.
Is it acceptable to ask, what is the basis of the 1-year eligibility?
It's just, we're able to hire in, it's called a
I know
permission
that
to
part of it,
employ,
but-
but it's only for 2 years. So we just have to track them, who's in year 1, who's in year 2 of those. So this is just how our HR department wants to do it.
So is this like the thought behind my question is this a person who is a
They're working-
professor somewhere?
They're
Is
working
this-
towards their certification typically, and that we have like a window of time for them to do that.
Okay,
Think about it that way.
okay.
Are you good? Sort of. She's still not sure.
Not my favorite, but yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we need a motion for the one-year certificate and the co-curricular.
Motion to approve the one-year certificate of eligibility as presented and the co-curricular non-sports nomination for student government at MVMS as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
By Vanessa. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teacher, student, yes, opposed, abstaining, we're unanimous.
And the last thing at the bottom of your staffing sheet, we have a co-curricular stipend for Bartlett Lego Club in robotics that is not being used. And the board will recall, we've had a chess program at Mountain View for a number of years. We had state funding for several years of that. That is an approved co-curricular for us that has been in pilot status. But because we've had funding from the state for several years, we wanted to ask the board's level of comfort to change the current stipend for Bartlett Lego and Robotics to Mountain View Chess, so that we could continue to offer that program and have a stipend for that teacher, for the advisor doing that this year.
Okay.
Wendy, anything you would add to this?
No, I think that you mentioned everything, Brian. And to my knowledge, they have not been running Lego robotics at Bartlett for quite some time.
Okay.
Brian?
Go ahead, Jenny.
I'm a little bit concerned if we give a stipend that's called something to somebody, that we've gotten rid of that and given like somebody else. Can this come back again? as a
It certainly
stipend?
could.
Because I'm just concerned that we said, okay, we're getting rid of this stipend, and we're gonna change it now to be this chess one. So I wanna just make
Yeah,
sure that
this-
this is written in a way that we're not getting rid of this Bartlett one, that they're always able to come back and have this approved. I mean, can't we just approve this on our own without using this, or are we just doing that because of a money situation?
It's a money situation. So right now, I have money available that was slotted for the Bartlett Robotics that's not being used. And we're not able to run the chess program because we're not able to offer a stipend. And the only reason, so Mrs. Kohler and I had a spirited conversation about this. We have other co-curriculars that are in the queue. This is the only one that I felt comfortable making a recommendation on, because this is a program that we've had in the past that we had funding for, that we lost funding. So I felt that this one stipend was different enough, that chess has been a long-standing successful program at Mountain View, and I was comfortable making that recommendation. And remember, all of the co-curricular and athletics are part of our Goffstown teacher contract.
Right.
So we adjust them, we go back, that's part of our negotiation. So there's always the ability to add to that list, to change that list.
Because I'd just like for future boards to know that
Yeah, and-
this was the situation here, and not that
Right.
Correct.
they were discontinued.
Go ahead, Shane.
If we are to move this money from the Bartlett Lego Robotics into the MVMS chess program, would the Bartlett Lego Robotics have to pilot again if it were to restart?
I believe it would. So if there was interest to reinitiate that program, I think that we would go back to the beginning of, because it hasn't run at this point for several years. So yes, my read would be that it would need to go back through the process.
Do we know how long it hasn't run for? Ballpark, maybe?
It's been at least 3 or 4 years.
It has not run since I've been in my
Yeah.
position, so it's been at least 4.
It's been a while.
Go ahead, Laura.
Is this restarting at Maple Avenue this year, though? Or is there any Lego robotics happening at elementary schools at all right now, or?
I know there has been talk about trying to get it resurrected at Maple because it hasn't been running at Maple Avenue either, but I'm not sure where Mr. Demers is in that, to be honest with you. But I know that they did start talking about it because they haven't had it for a while.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Anyone else? So do we have a motion?
I'll do a motion to approve using the stipend money that was slated for the Bartlett Lego Robotics Program and use it for the MBMS Chess Pilot Program.
All right, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
By Vanessa. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Teacher, student, opposed, abstaining. We're unanimous. All right, thank you. All right, so before we go to any other business, what is our top three? Yeah, I have to write it. Oh, I forget.
Diploma?
That's,
Yeah.
diploma.
Yeah,
Diploma.
diploma.
The cross-country?
I also had.
The budget stuff?
The 15-point increase in scores.
Oh,
At the
yeah.
elementary school,
In reading and writing.
in reading and writing.
That's a good
I always
one.
go back and listen.
Yeah,
To
I
get
thought
the
you
exact words. And what were the other two? Did we have two?
Well, we had the diploma.
State minimum, 20 credit diploma.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then do we want to talk about budget stuff starting or anything like, because our next two meetings are budget presentations.
Right, and I was thinking of just putting the
Doing something
budget
separate.
schedule, but I don't know if we would have this available publicly, the budget schedule, because it would be helpful to point people
Right.
so they can attend if they want. So is that something that we put out there before the minutes, because the minutes will be a while before.
Mr. Totten, do we put the budget schedule, when we post our budget materials, I don't know that we posted the schedule in the past.
I don't think they have posted the schedule in the past, not that we couldn't just take the bottom part of the schedule where we're at right now, or when we start presenting to the board and post that in a way.
Well, we know our meetings.
Yeah.
We have our meeting plans.
Yeah, our
and the
meeting
calendar's
plans,
already
yeah, the
public.
calendar for our school board stuff
Yeah.
is already out.
And the reason I ask is, the idea is we want people to know.
What's going
So
on.
they can attend.
Right.
So we should be able to point them somewhere so they know exactly when.
Well, that's why I thought number 3, budget presentations, October 6th and 8th.
Okay.
Does anybody have another different number 3? All right.
Downshifting of costs from the state.
Lots of examples of that, Jack.
Yeah, yeah.
Lots of examples of that.
Including the time.
Okay.
Budget presentations, the 6th and the 8th,
I think that's good.
Okay.
October.
It's pretty important.
Yeah, but what are the other two?
The 20 credit
Oh,
diploma.
diploma,
Okay.
and then the
And the
15-point
15
increase.
And if everybody, I never prioritize them, I just do them in chronological order, because I gotta sit through the recording. I think it's it presents better that if it's chronological rather than of priority.
Yeah. I'm good with that. Yes?
I have a thought too. I spoke with someone today who was asking about our meeting schedules, and they're not our typical first and third. And people are kind of wondering, like, they're kind of here and there and not our typical, they've always been like the first and the third.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should also kind of put out there so people can not come here on the first and the third thinking we're going to have a meeting, but
Mhm.
that our schedules have really altered a lot. So that if they want to come here for, to give a presentation or something that they can plan on when we're going to have a meeting and not just think, oh, school board always meets on the first and the third.
It still says that on your.
Just a thought.
On your.
Yeah, I mean, I know
website.
this next year, November is the only one, we're only doing one meeting. And it was just the way it fell, but
Yeah.
everything else should be the first and third unless there's,
There's a lot of if needed though.
yeah, because of vacations. But anybody that's doing a presentation, it has to get approved to be on the agenda. But if somebody wants to come and speak publicly. But we have this on the website, right? Our since we approved this last night, or last time? Is our
Mhm.
schedule up? Yeah.
Yep.
So people can look and see.
And the public notices are there when we're having the
Yeah.
meetings. Those are done
Yep.
5-7 days before.
Right.
Is there
Greta?
a link on the school board page, there's like to the meetings that would just be to the schedule, so you don't have to dig through
Dig through.
stuff? Because that's the easiest thing, and you end up having to like dig down several levels to get to the information, and this is basic, it should just be there. And I will agree, I'm like, the schedule is not typical for me.
Right.
It's like, I don't know, I can't tell you, I'll have to look at the calendar.
Right.
It is not there, right?
Is it on our website?
It's under the notices.
It's under the
I believe it's
notices
under
on the
notices,
website?
yeah.
Okay. All right, so other business that may come before, go ahead, Retta.
Yeah, I have one thing that I just like to bring back to the board, and it's the treasurer stipend that we talked a lot about at our last meeting. And I apologize, sometimes it takes a little time for me to process, and it's like, wait a second. I realize that we should have been talking about this last fall. If we, as a board, had a concern about not funding this position, I will admit that I didn't understand the implications of us saying, okay, all stipends go away. So I'm hoping that the board, as we go into the budget committee, can talk about this, because I think it put us in a really bad situation, having a further understanding of the amount of time and energy that went into this position, and to just get rid of the stipend where, you know, from my perspective, this really should be a paid position because there's so much time put into that. So I just want to bring that back to us, because it's up to us. We didn't have to agree with the budget committee's recommendation. We did, it went to vote, it got voted on, so I understand the reason we didn't want to override that at that point in time. But it was incumbent on us to talk about this last fall. And I hope, as we're going through the budget, lots of hard budget decisions are gonna need to be made in thinking about, you know, what it is as a board that we feel good about.
Right, and we agreed to bring that back into the
Yeah.
budget and talk about it
Thank
for
you.
next year. So thank you, Retta. Anything else? All right, we do have a couple of non-public, but just before we go in, to remind everyone, October 6th and 8th, our meetings start at 6, not 7. So on the 6th, we'll do a small school board meeting, correct? Before we do presentations?
I
If
believe
there's
that's the plan.
anything- Yep, and then the
Yep.
8th would just be presentations. All right, so which one do you want to go into
Mr.
first?
Chair,
Yes,
just,
go
to make
ahead.
sure, because we're going to non-public, are we expecting to take any votes coming out of non-public? We heard that feedback from community
Yeah.
members before.
I'm not entirely sure. So the board has two matters this evening. It's difficult to know, and one is a student-specific item, so I would not anticipate that there would be any public votes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Jared. So which one do you want to go on first?
Under C first, please.
All right, so I'll need a motion to go into non-public, RSA 91A32C, matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person.
So moved.
By Jack. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
By Retta. And I'll do roll call.
Yes.
Ginny?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
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 Yes, we are in non-public.